What's up, YouTube? Hello. Today is Friday, August the 31st. We are wrapping up summer, not officially because we still have some weird, funky weather over here. It's about 78 degrees on the East Coast over here, but very gray. Not a very lovely day, but either way, nonetheless, what a great time to sit here and be with you and do a video. And so the video today, I'm going to be talking about Jeff Sessions. I've been slightly critical about Jeff Sessions, not going into detail because there's so much confliction and feelings and, how to really feel about Jeff Sessions, what job he's doing, and if he's part of the plan, allegedly. But no one knows. So when you don't know, what do? You're just going to speculate. There's nothing else you can do. But I can tell you some negatives, or at least some things that we do know about Jeff Sessions that is already on the record. For one, the first thing is about his recusal of the Clinton Foundation. He cited some law that didn't apply to him, or counterintelligence at least, that he was going to recuse himself because he was part of the campaign, and I guess he didn't want to show bias. According to him in his statement, he said that that was the legal advice he got from his colleagues or the lawyers and legal analysts that are around him. Other legal analysis say that no, he should not have recused himself, or he cited the wrong statute, and that was pretty much garbage. But either way, we also know that the president has not been happy at all with Jeff Sessions. He's been speaking out about it. There's also rumors that that's also part of the plan, too. No one knows. But either way, he went on to actually have an interview and say that, if he knew that he was going to recuse himself, like, he could have hired someone else. And that makes total sense because you had to know that this is what you were planning to do. And this is like the biggest scandal in U.S. history, with the abuse of the intelligence communities, the DOJ, the FBI, NSA, CIA, all of these agencies working collectively for a coup d'etat to try to overthrow a sitting president who was democratically elected. He won fair and square. There was no cheating. We obviously know already that there was no Russian collusion. It's been put out there. And nothing, even those garbage Facebook ads that they claimed stood, none of those things swayed an election. I think they spent about $40,000. None of it swayed the election. As if no one knew how awful Hillary Clinton was as a candidate. I mean, she lost to the cool black guy in 2008, and she lost to a billionaire, so-called reality TV star, socialite Donald Trump in 2016. It's simple. People just don't like her. All right. So anyway, the FISA abuse that went on, detailed, verified, documented with evidence, was presented to Jeff Sessions. And instead of appointing a special counsel or a special counsel prosecutor like they did with Bob Mueller, he didn't do anything. He said no. It didn't reach, or whatever that they've shared, I guess, doesn't reach the threshold for him to appoint a special prosecutor. So we got strike one, strike two. Strike three, prison reform. He's on record blocking prison reform. So let me tell you a little bit about that. I have this article here by Vice, so they put out some decent articles, and they stand on the side of prison reform. So just to let you know, for the past 6 months, this was an article written by Taylor Dolvin, and this is published as of January 2018. For the past 6 months, the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has been working on a potentially bipartisan initiative to reform the U.S. criminal justice system. Kushner has been holding listening sessions to develop White House agenda on criminal justice reform, including policy recommendations such as providing incentives 2 companies for hiring former felons, investing in inmates once they leave prison, and perhaps most importantly, reforming the sentencing laws, including mandatory minimum sentencing, a relic of the 1980s and 90s war on drugs, and the focus of a 3-year bipartisan reform effort in the Senate. Okay, so you have a bipartisan effort for prison reform, something our elected officials are actually on board about. And instead of actually doing something about it, Jeff Sessions is blocking it. So let me go on to tell you how that goes. So the article continues, says that Attorney General Jeff Sessions opposes reforming mandatory minimum sentencing and effectively blocked it from becoming part of the White House reform agenda, according to 3 people who attended meetings with White House advisors on the issue over the past few months. Sessions was very powerful in the Senate, but I think he's actually more powerful now to oppose the bill, a source familiar with the White House meetings on the issue said. He has an ability to keep in line several members on the conservative side. The DOJ would take a position on a bill that would scare the Republicans. All right, so he's on record blocking prison reform. And of course, as always, guys, the links to any of this information that I'm citing and sharing with you will be listed below. So a short while, not too long later, Snopes had published an article, and an article came up talking about the question of, does Jeff Sessions have investments in the private prison industry? You know, you would question, why would he be against prison reform, right? Why would he stand against something like that, especially when it has bipartisan support? Wouldn't he want to be on record as showing that he was part of an effort to come to the table, to be diplomatic, to work with people on both sides of the aisle to get this thing done? So why would he stand against that, right? So how convenient it would be if he did have investments in the private prison industry. We do know that this country has the most people in jail, and so the prison population has exploded, and so there's a need for a private system, private jails to house them. So of course you're going to have people who support it, right? They're pro private prison industry because it makes them money. Criminals and people going to jail makes them money. That's how they make their money. So the question was, does Jeff Sessions have investments in the private prison industry? So this article talks about, so just in summary, because I'm not going to read to you every single article. In summary, the links to this will also be placed below. In summary, does he have investments in the private industry? The short answer is yes. But if you have a portfolio, he doesn't manage his portfolio. An investment, a head honcho, one of those advisors, those folks who manage portfolios, that is who's in charge of his investments. And so you know that when you have a portfolio, they diversify your funds. Most people don't even know where their money is being placed, what percentage, what amount is going where, but it's spread across a portfolio. And so 2 of the companies actually that Jeff Sessions has investments in, which are part of the private prison, or the industrial complex, as they like to say, Core Civic and GEO Group, if I'm saying that correctly. So Core Civic and GEO Group. Those are the 2 companies. So he does, but does he really know? Is he actively investing? We don't know. Don't know, but on record, yes. But it's a small amount. So I don't know if you can really make that argument that he's nefariously, he's investing, or for a private gain, for personal gain, that he's investing in private prisons. But either way, neither here nor there. So worse is that, so he had the recusal. He didn't do anything about the FISA abuse. He blocked prison reform. Then he starts to mess with cannabis. Okay, So Sessions made an announcement to roll back Obama-era policies that allowed states to legalize marijuana. Now, if you don't know already, now on record, actually, Oklahoma just became the 30th state to legalize marijuana. We'll say medical marijuana for the most part. There's 9 states where it's legalized recreationally, but 30 states right now where it's legalized medically. So anyhow, he decides. So after just being like a derelict in his duties, because that's basically what he is. He's been a derelict in his duties, if you ask me. He shows up with this saying that he's going to roll back these policies that allow states to legalize marijuana. To do what? Now, to go after them? And so elections have consequences. When Sessions announced this back in January of 2018, cannabis stocks were soaring. You have investors. You also have traders, people who trade stocks and bonds and stuff like that. What a great time to become as they say, a ganjapreneur or something. There's that term. There are people who trade stocks. And so when he made that announcement, the stock market took a big tumble. We know that it's been tumbling and up and down and depends on what the news is. But the whole thing is that elections have consequences. And Trump was on record saying that he was going to stay away from states' rights, stay away from states who already have laws on the books protecting them as far as the cannabis industry goes. But then you go and appoint a attorney general who this is what he's doing. He's it's like selective outrage, selective things he wants to care about. Meanwhile, you have this big, crazy scandal going on where they are trying to unsit a president and you are nowhere to be found. You're not vocal. You have nothing to say. You are non-existent. And it's crazy, like a scared little mouse. So that happened. Support for legalization is 2 out of 3. A Quinnipiac poll showed. This is of April of 2018. 63% of Americans support legalized marijuana. This is the highest in history. So here you have a situation again. Jeff Sessions, the people want you to go after the criminals, with all this prosecutorial misconduct that's going on. The people want you to go after the criminals who are responsible for this, and you're nowhere to be found. Here it is again. The people who support the cannabis industry, or at least medical cannabis, which is doing amazing things for certain people. You don't support it, and you're going after it instead. So, that's with Jeff Sessions. By the way, 30 states is legalized with marijuana right now on the books. Those states, in case you wanted to know, are Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, D.C., and West Virginia. So did you hear that, guys? I wasn't only naming blue states. There are also red states there who have legalized marijuana now. Don't know how you feel on the issue. It doesn't matter. But when it comes down to it, it's big business. All right? When you infringe on people's business, that has ramifications. And it'll cost you. So I think there's no better time that the president should be really considering getting rid of Jeff Sessions. Because Jeff Sessions, your Sessions is over. Quit monkeying around, all right? You've been monkeying around long enough. The people are speaking, and they do not like you. They don't. Judge Janine said that Sessions needs to resign. I probably agree with that. Joe DeGeneva Legal Analysis says that he has no commanding presence. What do you think? No commanding presence. I gotta agree with that, because when he popped up and came out and said something about this rolling back these cannabis laws. I thought he's like a little mouse, like a little scared mouse. Does he have a commanding presence to you? I don't think so. Donald Trump does. He's a bravado. You know, I don't know what's up with Sessions. He's shown himself to be like a beta male right now. Like, I mean, where does he stand strong? Where is he? So Sessions, stop monkeying around. It's time to give up that seat. If you weren't properly prepared to be in this highest, like this, he's in such a powerful position. You are doing nothing. You're doing nothing in that position. And it's time for you to go. All right? Step up. Either you step up or you step out. All right? Because your time should be over. Your session should be over. With that said, guys, you have a wonderful Friday. Hope you have a great Labor Day weekend. And I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.